Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you with your review on the brand new Marvel Legends X-Men 60th Anniversary Deluxe Blob. I am so excited to finally have a Marvel Legends Blob in the line. Ever since the first reboot Marvel Legends X-Men wave all the way back in 2016, I was praying and hoping that the next wave would have a Build-A-Figure Blob. The next wave came, and none of them had a Build-A-Figure Blob. But here we are in 2023, and we finally got our Marvel Legends Blob, and not in the way I was expecting. I really did think this guy would have made for a perfect Build-A-Figure, but instead we got him as a deluxe release, which I honestly think was the best move, as a lot of people were wanting another Marvel Legends Blob in the line, as that first one, all the way back from the early days of Marvel Legends in the Hasbro line, goes for a lot of money. So I guess it does make sense that this was a single released figure. It is certainly pricey, but that being said, I do have a lot to say on it, so let's get into the review for the brand new Marvel Legends Blob. Now, as always, before I go over the figure, I do want to start off with his packaging. Now, this Blob is in a very different style of deluxe box, at least compared to some recently released deluxe figures in the plastic-free packaging, such as the Cyborg, Spider-Woman, and the Groot. Both of those are considered deluxe, but both of them have way smaller boxes compared to this guy, which I guess does make sense, as he is probably the biggest of the three of them. But anyways, on the front, you have a rendered image of the figure. I'll try to get a good look at that, as this box is really huge. Doesn't fit that well in the frame, but yeah, that is quite a nice rendered image. X-Men logo down below, plastic repackaging, and Hasbro logo down there as well. Marvel's the Blob, Marvel Legends series. On this side, we have a comic image of Blob in a very different outfit from the actual figure. Well, I guess it's the same outfit, but this one is in black. I'm kind of thinking maybe this figure would look cool in black. Maybe we will get that one day, but at the same time, I don't want to buy another Blob, especially with the price that I'm about to show you. But anyways, on this side, you do have another rendered image of the figure with the different head sculpt on. Marvel Legends series logo there as well. On the back, we have another rendered image of the figure and his accessories, and that very steep price, which is definitely a downside with this figure. But if I'm being honest, I was willing to pay anything for a brand new Marvel Legends Blob. I was dying to get this guy for what has been like 6-7 years at this point. But anyways, there you have his measurements there. On the bottom, not much more going on besides the barcode and some other information. And then on the top, lastly, you have that brand new iconic 60 years of X-Men logo. But other than that, not much more going on with the box. So let's get on to the Blob figure himself. And sure, we have the Blob figure himself, along with his 3 accessories, being an extra head sculpt, as well as 2 extra hands. I'm going to start off with these hands. You do get a set of fisted hands. You have some very nice detail on the back of all of these hands that are included with this figure, which is very nice. That design kind of does continue throughout all of the skin exposed on the figure. And then you also do get a extra set of open hands, this one being obviously way more open than this one, but this one being open enough to probably hold like a arm or a leg of an X-Men character, which at least in my opinion is very fitting to be included with this guy, because I imagine he will just be swinging X-Men left, right, and center, just like Hulk in the Avengers. So that is a very nice inclusion. And I really do like this one little element on this open hand, just right there. I love that sculpt. It looks very realistic. I just love the hands that are included with this guy. I love everything included with this guy, but they did a very good job with these hands. Then moving on to the 2 head sculpts included with this guy, you do get one being a kind of neutral expression, as well as one being a very angry and infuriated expression. I really do like this one. I also like this one. I'll probably have him display with this because I love Blob being super angry and pissed off. But one thing that I did notice about this one is if you look from different angles, he kind of seems to have different expressions. Like if you look down, he looks pretty neutral, but also a little bit menacing. But from the side, he looks full on menacing. But from the top, he looks a little bit angry. I don't know if that was intentional, but nonetheless, it is still quite a nice addition. And another thing that I did notice is with the hair, they both do have different haircuts, which I kind of do like, especially if we are only going to get this Blob for a long time, I imagine. It is cool to get these 2 kind of different display options, or 2 different styles from the comics. Although one downside is if you are doing stop motion or taking photos or something like that, rotating between the haircuts won't really work, as that is just, not humanly possible unless you are wearing a wig. Now, if you take both head sculpts off with that one shorter haircut, as you can see, he does have a lot more neck exposed. This guy still does have some exposed, but not as much as this. I do really love the line that is included there. It really does fit for the Blob. Now, switching the head sculpts here, let's put the more neutral one on. I still really like this one. It definitely does have its uses, but I love this one way more. At least to me, just having Blob be angry and pissed off is so fitting. And another thing I noticed with this one is he has veins like exposed on his forehead, which just shows how angry he is. I absolutely love that detail. Another reason why I think this one is my favorite. You can kind of see it on that side as well. Now, you also do have that same kind of skin design that was on the hands. It is on the rest of the figure. As you can see, I will go over that right away, but it is definitely there on the head sculpt. I don't know if it's supposed to be freckles or something like that. Let me know in the comments below if you have any clue what that is supposed to be, but still definitely does add some realism to these head sculpts. But yes, overall, I do think this one is my favorite. Look at those teeth. This one is, it's so cool. Then moving down to the rest of this figure, as you can see, obviously that same skin design from the heads and the hands does continue, but especially here on the shoulders, it really does come to life and shows how good it is. I don't know if it's paint or if it's like photoreal, whatever it is though, it looks absolutely amazing and very, very realistic to my eyes. Moving down to the forearms, you do have that same skin design, obviously, and then on the joint, you also do have that paint applied, which is very, very nice, very unexpected from Hasbro. And then on the sweatbands, I really love this design. It looks very realistic, just like the skin, but for different reasons, and that also is on Blob's Blob, which is the next thing I will go over. You know, there's not a lot to talk about. It's Blob's Blob, looks like his blob, and it looks very blobby. It looks very good. I'll leave it at that. Looks good. Moving on the back here, you have yep, you have that, and then you also do have these two parts here, which don't have that same texture as this part, but they do still have a similar kind of design. Those do look very good and are very fitting for Blob, but other than that, there isn't a lot much more to go over with the actual torso here. It is very smooth, which is something that I do enjoy, but you also do have a little bit of sculpt there. I don't know if I'm seeing nipples or if that's just me. I don't know. Is it just the light? Could just be me, but there is a very nice sculpt there nonetheless. But moving down to the legs, this is what I really wanted to show you guys. You do have the awesome cellulite on the blob, which is what I really wanted. Certainly, it's not as much on here as the previous blob, which is definitely a downside from a certain point of view, but still, it does look very, very good, and I'm very happy that this is on the figure. And obviously, you do have that same skin design continued on the legs. And is it in the joints? It is in the joints, you know, crown to Hasbro. That looks very, very good, and I'm very happy that they did do that. And then on the boots, you don't have a lot much more going on. You do have that same design from the wristbands as well as the blob band. I don't know exactly what to call it. And then the boots do have that same kind of texture as the belly, but still that looks very, very good. But other than that, there isn't a lot much more to go over with this figure. Very, very nice sculpt. But that being said, it is quite simple. Although, is it simple? Is that the word to describe it? I think that is fitting, but I guess you know what I mean. The paint is really what I love with this figure, but I also love this cellulite, although I do wish there was a little bit more. But other than that, I think it's time to get into the Blob's articulation. Now, for the articulation on this blob, it is very, very good, especially for a figure of this size and caliber. But anyways, the head does go down that much. I believe that is kind of popping off, but still to have that range on a figure, like I said, of this size and caliber is very, very good. And then moving back, more of the same, very, very good as well. And then you can kind of pop it off to get even more range, but then you do have the neck exposed. But even still, if you do put it as much as you can with it on the joint, you do still have a little bit exposed right there on the bottom. Moving to the side, you do have pretty good range there overall, but full 360 is a little bit harder as it does kind of pop off, but overall very good range on the head, and that is the same on both head sculpts, as they are mainly all the same, although this guy does have a little bit of a chin. Doesn't really get in the way of the articulation. Arms go out that much, down, full 360, a little bit stiff, but not too bad. Single jointed elbows that do also rotate, which is quite nice. And then the hands are all on a horizontal hinge. All the sets are. Hands go up, down, full 360, and then the ab crunch goes down. Not at all, because the blob. And then moving back, you do get a little bit more range, but not that much. Side, side. Overall, though, pretty... Oh, that is so satisfying to move it like this. You guys don't know how badly I've been wanting a blob. It's probably in my, like, top 5, or at least as of, like, 3 months ago, my top 5 most desired Marvel Legends. So to have this guy in my hands, reviewing him, is very, very satisfying, and I'm very excited to put him on my shelf. But anyways, there is kind of your full rotation with the head and the torso. The head does pop off very easily, so definitely keep that in mind. But the leg articulation does kick forward that much. Back splits, very good splits, especially for, you know, having these big legs. Upper thigh cut, full 360, single jointed knees, no rotation, is that right? Yeah, no rotation, at least to me. And then the boots go up that much, which this one is very stiff. Is it better on this one? Up that much. Careful with yours. I would hate for it to break, especially at that price. And then down that much. And then, of course, beautiful blob ankle rocker pivot. Now, first for comparisons, here we have the Deluxe Blob next to two other very big X-Men villain characters, being the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure, although this one isn't the Build-A-Figure, this is the one from the Colossus and Juggernaut 2-pack, as well as the Build-A-Figure Caliban. Next, here we have the Deluxe Blob figure next to the 20th anniversary of Marvel Legends Hulk figure, as well as the recently released Chad Build-A-Figure, although as you can see, he is missing an arm, as I have not managed to find Chamber yet soon enough, but still he is complete enough, at least in my eyes, to do a comparison with the Blob. Love this head sculpt. Next up for comparisons, here we have the Deluxe Blob next to three other X-Men villains, these ones obviously being way smaller than the first two. Here we have the Pyro figure, the Mystique, as well as the Avalanche. And lastly, for comparisons with this Deluxe Blob, here we have three other recently released X-Men, being the retro-carded Wolverine, the Gambit, as well as the Storm. I will have reviews for this 3-pack as well as this 3-pack coming up very, very soon. And I think I'm going to do both of the 3-packs in one video, as I think that is the most fitting, as they all have essentially the same bodies throughout. Now, as for my final thoughts on this Marvel Legends X-Men 60th Anniversary Deluxe Blob figure, I absolutely love this thing. I'm so happy to finally have a Blob in my collection. And at least in my eyes, I think he is perfect. Well, at least as far as perfect can go for a action figure. The only real downside, I say he's perfect, and then I say the downside, is that he doesn't have enough cellulite. I kind of do like what we have going on here, although it would have been really nice to see some more. It isn't too bad in the grand scheme of things, at least to me. Some people don't like this at all. I'm perfectly content with it. And then the other real downside with this guy is the price being around $84 or $85 Canadian, a little bit under that. That is very, very pricey for this guy. But I guess Hasbro knew what they were doing, as they know probably a lot of people were wanting this guy, as they probably checked the market price of the previous Build-A-Figure one. So I guess they could have charged anything, especially with me collecting Marvel Legends. Like I said, I would have paid anything for this guy. Don't tell them that, because when they make another figure I really want, they'll put the price up. But yeah, $84 for this guy I think is good, especially with me wanting this guy for over 7 years. But other than that, I think that's all I have to really say about him. Now, for my rating, like I said, with that pricing account, that price certainly weighs him down. Very, very pricey, especially for people who don't want him as badly as I do. I know a lot of people do want him, but I think I'm the king of wanting a new Marvel Legends Blob. This guy has been like on my mind for 7 years. What's that, like 2,800 days? Yeah, every single day I woke up and I went to bed thinking of Blob. Yes, that is true. And no, that's not sad. It's whatever. That's besides the point. So I'm very, very happy with this guy overall. Now, like I said, with that price and account and the rating for him, I think I'm going to give him like a 9.5 out of 10. The 0.5 being minus from the 10 out of 10 is probably just due to the price. But other than that, I think he's a perfect Marvel Legends Blob figure. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. As always, let me know what you think of this guy in the comments down below. Do you like him? Do you not? Are you going to pick him up? Are you not? As always, start a conversation and I will try my best to respond. But until my next video, I have been Jagger Collector. He has been Blob. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Whoa.